Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. Today we have even more patch changes on the PTR to go over, some of which are just how ultimates and certain abilities look, but also some pretty significant changes coming for Doomfist and Symmetra. We start with Baptiste. Honestly, every single time a new hero comes out, I manage to mispronounce their name. It's actually a joke right now. Bit of a minor change that came to him, but it has to do with his Amplification Matrix Ultimate. This is what the devs had to say. When we originally released Amplification Matrix, we felt like it looked a little too much like a shield. These changes will make it clear this is a field and not a shield, and you can see the comparison on screen. The gameplay on the left came from the myth testing video that we did going over a lot of his ultimate, and then on the right is just me in the practice test place showing you exactly what it looks like now. You can see it's a pretty significant difference between the two and you can't confuse it for being a shield. So it's a nice little distinction going on there. The next change isn't actually in the patch notes, but it should be. It might have come through a couple of days ago when Baptiste was originally launched, but people on the subreddit were quick to show that Sombra's hack is a bit more prominent now, and you can see exactly who was hacked really. Not only is it a bit more clear when you're hacking somebody initially, but you can also see the effect on them a couple of seconds after they've hacked. You can see an enemy being hacked a bit more clearly, you can see your teammates being hacked a lot more clearly. That kind of information is going to be incredibly important with the metas going ahead, because Sombra, I do think, is going to be very strong currently, but we'll get onto that towards the end of this video. We'll go over the news now. The next actual buff came to Symmetra. The Photon Projector primary fire damage ramps up 20% faster. Developer comments say this will allow Symmetra to more consistently reach peak damage output from her Photon Projector. It's a fairly strong change. It looks like this is just a net buff for Symmetra, of course, but what you do have to bear in mind is some recent nerfs that came in kind of for her. They do have effects, but not strictly just for Symmetra. Those changes came around armor, and beam type damage is now reduced by 20% when hitting armor. So I think overall Symmetra will do a lot less damage, but it should ramp up to max damage a lot quicker, which means that this trade-off is, much more balanced in Symmetra's favor. It does feel to an extent that these changes are more aimed at Zarya more than anyone. So it does make sense that Blizzard have turned around and gone, actually, we need to kind of bring Symmetra back up a bit. And it does feel like Blizzard are putting a lot of time and effort into making Symmetra a lot stronger. So it is a buff, of course, to Symmetra, but in the grand scheme of things, I think it puts her about on par where she was before with the nerfs that we went over. And finally, this was under the bug fixes, but it's for Doomfist. Fixed a bug where Seismic Slam didn't pull enemies as intended. Now this on the face of it doesn't seem like much. It is a bug fix at the end of the day, but I did spot the Chipsa tweet out saying that this is also a huge change. Thanks Blaze, and that kinda got me looking at a video that Chipsa did reacting to the Doomfist buffs. I won't take a clip of it because that's kind of scummy, but you should definitely watch it if you are interested in Doomfist. I'll link it in the description below. But generally it boils down to the other buffs that Doomfist got, which were the cooldown being reduced on his Rising Uppercut and Seismic Slam from 7 seconds to 6. And whilst this might not seem like a huge change in itself, he mentions that it's a great way of being able to farm up shields, because of course, when you do damage, you get shields for yourself, meaning that Doomfist, in a sense, is almost like a tankier, brawlier character, which I know Chips has mentioned on this channel a few times, is the way that the hero should be, realistically, almost like a off-tank being able to just cause a lot of problems, not necessarily one-shotting anybody anymore, but just being a nuisance, very much like Hammond of sorts. Mixing this with consistency changes to knockback just means that Doomfist is a lot better, but you sort of see in the comparison here on this drag effect, this bug fix that's been fixed, now targets sort of get pulled back towards Doomfist, meaning that lining up combos in that sense is going to be a lot stronger and its gameplay a lot tighter. So they are the 4 changes that have gone through onto the PTR to follow up on the almost 20 heroes that have been changed at this point. I would be interested to highlight the heroes that weren't buffed or nerfed in this PTR patch, and maybe looking at the heroes is like, yeah, fair enough, Reinhardt didn't need changing as an example, but what about Roadhog? Like, what, more could be certainly done there. But I digress. I did want to talk about Sombra as I said I would in other videos, and generally I feel that she is going to be, this is going to be a meta, really. I don't think that she's necessarily too strong, too oppressive being the buzzword when talking about Sombra, but we have seen her being used in stuff like GOATs in the Overwatch League at the moment, with teams running her in place of a diva, I feel, to hack mirror GOATs basically, to try and sort of tear them apart. EMP is just a good ultimate to have in those fights. But not to mention that Sombra is also very good good against Batiste, very good against bunker comps, because EMP of course can clear stuff on the high ground like an Orisa or a Bastion to kind of shut that down, and with these changes she's just a lot stronger, so I feel like she's going to be the most universal hero in metas going forward. She's good with goats, she's good on the other end of the spectrum with dive, she's very good with bunker comps, but she's also very good against all these free comps that I've just mentioned, so I think now is a really good time to start farming up and getting better at Sombra, because having a good Sombra on your team is going to be massive. I honestly think so. So, good time. Maybe we'll talk to Fitzy on the channel at some point to see how good these changes realistically are and where she is on the meta. But on that discussion, we've mentioned Chips and Fitzy. Is there anybody that you would like on the channel for us to talk about hero buffs and nerfs that have happened to them? I kind of want to get ML7 on the channel to talk about Batiste at some point, but he says that he just wants a bit more time to sort of learn him, which is fair enough. Before we finish, quick shout out to Omened by HP. We've been working with them for almost a year now, making some pretty cool content. We did a video going over the anti-goats comp that's been used by the Shendu Hunters. Again, it was used last night and did pretty well. So if you want to check that video out, you can in the description below. But yeah, we just wanted to say thanks again to Omened by HP for helping support the channel, and you can check out all of their stuff in the description below too. But definitely check out that video, because it very much could become the meta with these new changes, both for the PTR and with the new hero. But let me know what you think of all of these changes. Thanks for watching, have a good weekend, and I'll see you next time. Take care.